I paid for other coaches and stuff like that, but it was not the same with you, Rhett. So when I started with you, it was night and day difference. Like the value that you bring to the table, it's it's something that you're never gonna forget.
Hey guys, Rhett here. What's going on? I am so excited to bring this video to you today. I'm absolutely honored to have my man Dominic here on the channel today. Dominic, thank you so much for coming on.
Pleasure to be here.
And guys, one of the reasons why I wanted to bring Dominic on is well, there's a lot of reasons. But this is a guy that has been doing this for a little over 12 months, Dom. Is that right?
Yeah, just about.
Okay, so just about a year, and he has had so many experiences in doing this in a short amount of time. And we'll get into what I mean by that. But this is a guy that owns two Section 8 properties, grossing just about $2,000 a month. And Dominic, have you had any Section 8 properties or any kind of rental properties before this?
For this, nope. No, all new to me.
Okay, and where do you live?
So I live in San Antonio, Texas.
Nice. And where are you currently investing?
Birmingham, Alabama.
Nice, nice. And how many times have you been to your two properties you have out there?
Total of 0 times. Sight unseen.
So, what has that been like for you, Dominic? What have been kind of the driving factors behind you buying out of state, Section 8? Just kind of give everybody a little bit of background on that.
Yeah, so going in college, I was always curious on like, how to make money, like one does every time when you're, in college, and funds ain't there too much. But I've been pretty privileged. In my summer jobs, I saved up a whole bunch of money, and so I had a ton of money. I was like, I want to invest, and hear about like the retirement investment and all that thing. It wasn't too intriguing to me. I was like I want money now type thing and stuff like that to see my returns immediately. So I started looking into real estate, and then in real estate, started looking at my hometown in Texas and see what it is. So the problem with Texas is, it's a lot higher of property prices, and then the property taxes, those are high as well. So I had to find a way to, make my money work for me better. And so then I stumbled across your channel. I started watching videos like, oh, Section 8, it's really interesting, government paid, guaranteed, and all that. I was like, sounds amazing. And so I started going down the rabbit hole, your channel and all that. And then started searching up because some properties were in Birmingham, in Alabama as well. And then I started researching that market, and around 100K, like 75,000, like all those prices, I was like, wow, this, like, I'm not used to anything like that. And so like in Texas, the prices here is, north of 200K, and 200K is low. And so I reached out to you to see what the whole Section 8 is about. What can I learn? And, it was one of the greatest decisions of my life. And so I'm excited, and, always looking for that next one.
And Dominic, I appreciate that. And this has been all you. I know that we've been doing this thing together, and you've used the team. You've done an amazing job taking advantage of all those resources, right? Everybody's been in place for you, the realtors, the management companies, the contractors, the lenders, everybody you need. But even though I've spent years and years developing those resources, you have taken the leap of faith with me. And
Oh,
you have totally embraced, and that's why I love having you in the program, because you've said, Rhett, what are we doing? And you followed along, and literally 12 months later, you have two Section 8 properties up and running, cash flowing. You've never been to any of them. You have a management company that handles everything for you. You know everything that's going on. You get paid every single month like clockwork, and you don't have to worry about anything. So I love that for you, because that's what you deserve as an out-of-state investor who's willing to take the risk and who's willing to put faith in the system. So let's Now, I hope everybody watching this, please, if you're not sitting down, sit down right now because I'm about to get into the numbers on some of your houses, Dominic. So the first house you bought for $38,000, right?
Yep.
And
30.
you, and you financed it. So you got
Yeah.
a 30-year fixed rate loan on a $38,000 home. Wow.
Yeah.
So it was a 2 bedroom, right?
Hmm.
And it rents for $895 a month, Section 8. We put 15,000 into it. We did all new flooring. We did new water heater. We did all new paint, new light fixtures, brought the thing up to where it needed to be. It had some foundational work that needed to be done. It had some exterior work that needed to be done. And it had some serious landscaping too, because it's a huge piece of land, you know.
Yep,
So,
it was the
yeah,
jungle leader.
it's a big piece of land. And so you're into this thing for under $55,000 all in. And it's renting for almost $900 a month. What was that process? And you bought it, it was vacant, you did a rehab, and you
Hmm.
bought it with financing. And I'm saying that for a reason, guys, because this guy has done it all. But his first one is financing and with rehab vacant. What was that experience like for you, Dom? What were some things that you were surprised by, some things that you learned, and some things that really stuck out to you?
Yeah. So, the choice to go with financing was, try to get it for at least the less money, the better, to make that spread as best as I could. Um, so the process with it was pretty daunting at first, but, because of you, Rhett, I feel like, you know, it's like you have a person in your corner in your back that's looking out for you. And so like you said, I took the leap of faith. But yeah, it's always that first one. That's what they all say. It's always the first one that, it's gonna be the hardest one. It's the one that can make it a world of difference. And so when I did it and chose to finance it, and then your team, Rhett, was amazing. You put me in place with all the right people. I was surprised on how easy, kind of how easy it was, because as soon as you link me up with the right person, I started to have that conversation, and the team was fantastic. Any questions I had or anything like that, I asked and it was answered. And so the peace of mind was also there. You're buying a property for the first time. That whole thing is, it's something that could instill a lot of fear, but when I got deeper into it, started talking to everyone, yourself, all the people of your team, it was the peace of mind was there. And so when I financed it and bought it, I was like, wow, got my first property under me, first property I've ever owned, never had a house or anything like that. And so I was like, well, and it's in different states, sight unseen. It was it was shell shocking to me. And so when I got it, and then obviously it needed some work, and then you tell me exactly what needs to be done and all that stuff, and then you run it by me. That was also another thing. I've never felt like my opinion wasn't valued or anything. Yes, it is my house, yes, and all that. Yeah, we understand that, but you valued my opinion, and I valued your opinions and your advice, and to move forward with things. And so when we started to do it, it was as easy to for me out of state. I've never seen it, so I didn't really see the day to day, but I think it was for me as an investor, a true investor. That was what was really surprising to me. The process of it, the whole thing. Like you can out of state invest, never see a property from beginning to end, and get it rented, and have the cash come in, like that. The concept is there's proof there. And so that was what really surprised me the most. And I think with you got to have a team, and I think with you and your team were excellent to me. And so it made me realize, this is something that is feasible, that you can do, and you can scale it to however big you want. And so, it's really those connections and the team that you had, Rhett, and have. it made my life a world easier. And that's what gave me the confidence to go on to the next property. And it still gives me the confidence to even try to even get more as of now.
Well, I appreciate that, Dominic. And, it takes years and years and years to grow a team like that, where you trust everybody, what's going on. I know that when I tell somebody, hey, go out to Dominic's property and do this, that it's going to get done, and that what you pay for is actually going to happen. And so many people who are just like you, Dom, who are like, I want this. They go into a market where they don't know anybody. They go into a market where they have no history or no help finding a team, and they trust the wrong people, and they get crushed, and they lose a ton of money. And it happens every single day. And you understand the value of having a good team, because you go about your life, you don't worry about it. Right. And that is what it's all about. That is how we get to that place of financial freedom, where you can take your money, put it away. You don't have to worry about it. You know that you're going to get rent every month because the rent's guaranteed from the government. You know that there are people looking out for your best interests. If something comes up that's a problem, they're going to tell you about it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you said it exactly. It gives you confidence to keep going. Now, if your first property was a disaster, you probably wouldn't have bought another one, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, Dominic. So one of the reasons I really wanted to harp on the fact that you used financing and you bought it from scratch. It was beat up. Nobody had lived in it in years. Then you had so much confidence in it. You said, you know what? I'm going to try something totally different. And you went polar opposite of every decision you made on the first property. You bought your second property cash, $100,000, already up and running, Section 8, right?
Yep.
Bringing in $1,095 a month with a rental increase right around the corner. That's going to bring it up to probably close to $1,200, if not a little bit over that. Instantly cash flowing. What do you think now? So now you own two properties. You own one with financing and one you put a tenant in. You own one with cash outright, no mortgage, no nothing. That brings in a significantly high net as well, because you have no mortgage, you have no insurance, you have nothing on it. What are some of the things you like about both ways of purchase? What are some things you don't? What are your opinions on that?
So I'd say with the financing, getting it for as the lowest money that you can put into it, that is probably the biggest selling point with financing a deal. And then you always have that upside of, you financed it at the condition it is now, and then you make improvements, and then you can essentially burr it out and then get a cash out refinance. So that's what I'm kind of looking towards right now, to pull the cash out of that property as well. And then with the all cash, I feel like only downside with all cash is that you definitely do have to have the cash for it, or you can get creative, you start hitting relatives up and stuff or something like that. There's different ways with cash deals. And I like the cash is, it's there, should you buy it, it's yours as soon as, right then and there. Like, you send the funds and it's yours, and you can do whatever you want with it. Nothing else. And then with the financing, there is a little bit more process to the financing, but I mean, there is no real issue with that. You can look at it both ways, as financing, you're going to get your inspections for the mortgage and everything like that. You could have a peace of mind with that. There's pros and cons to it. It depends on how you look at it, but both ways, I think, if I to go forward with another one, I'd probably finance again. It all depends on the deal, really, to me. So, like, the reason I bought the cash one is because it was pretty much a turnkey property. I didn't have to put too much into it, and like, as I still haven't done anything to it. It was day one ready rent. And with the financing, it's a lot more flexible with that. You can get a bigger spread. You put in the improvements you want, and then you can potentially pull out the cash for that. And so I looked at it both ways. And then what really made me want to go the cash route and, try to do a turnkey property is, the experience with it. I looked at it, I was like, okay, so I did the finance, I did the housing improvement. I want to try something new, see what it all can be about. And I looked for a turnkey property, and I was like, maybe not do any work on it, and then just experience on how that went. And so I looked at it as the more experience I got, the better I could be down the road. I'd have the experience with both, and then the next property, if it's a cash deal or if it's financing, I would be comfortable doing both. So that was the big selling point for me on why I wanted to go all cash on the second one.
And that is such a, Dominic, how old are you?
I am 24.
You're 24 years old. That approach that you have is so far beyond your years because that is so unbelievably smart. It allows you to take a step back and say, look, I've done this every way, which through first two properties, there's literally, you did them every way. You bought the turnkey with cash, no financing. Then you bought the one with financing, did a rehab and did it from scratch. So you understand what it's like to vet tenants. You understand what it's like to go through rehabs. You understand what it's like to buy beat up homes and go through the loan process, but also to skip all that and to buy directly with cash. And then I ask you which one you want to do, and you have the ability to say whatever the best deal is. And that's what makes such a good investor, because every deal is different. And if you have the ability, of course, having the ability to do both is very rare, and it's something that you do. And if you do have the ability, then that is the answer to say, well, I don't know if I'm going to use financing or cash yet. I'm going to look at the deal and I'm going to let the deal tell me what I should do. But, you mentioned a cash out refinance and you mentioned the BRRRR strategy. So you have been able to, when you bought your house, your 2-bedroom that rents for $895, Section 8, and you bought it for $38,000, right? We put the $15,000 into it. So you're into it for about $53K plus closing costs. We'll say about $55,000, right? A little bit less. There's a house across the street that just sold for over $100,000.
Yeah.
So the equity that you have in that house is, there's a good chance that house is worth somewhere between 75 and 85,000, just as is, right? Not even including the fact we have somebody in there renting for about $900 a month. So you have roughly 40,000, if not a little bit more, in equity in that house right there. And then the house that you bought for 100K, I know that area, it's probably worth about 110, if not 115 right now. You can pull 75% out of that, which is about 85,000. You put those two numbers together, you have about 130K to play around with.
Yeah.
How nice is that?
Yep. It is exciting.
And then we buy another house and we just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And it allows you to continue to recycle the capital over and over and over again so you can keep growing your portfolio. 24 years old. Dominic, where do you want your portfolio to be at 30 and 35?
Yeah, so when I started this whole, real estate investing, I kind of had a self goal in my mind, 10 houses by 30 was my goal. If I have more, great. But that's kind of my my mile marker on how I'm doing on 10 houses by 30. Always, try to push for more, the more the merrier, and how I look at it as well.
Yeah, and I think that's an unbelievable goal. And you at just around the 12-month mark, already having 2. I mean, you're well on pace to have more than 10. And your outlook, once we cash out refi and grab you over 100,000 to play with, you're just going to keep going over and over and recycling over and over and over again, because you've made really good investments so far. Your first 2 properties, we talked about them. They were great buys, and you had the ability to say, yeah, they are. And then you did it, which is so hard to do because everybody wants to change their life, right? But not everybody wants to say, I'm going to do it. Yeah. And they do. So Dominic, I appreciate having you on so much, because I think that you are such an inspiration for young people and older people who want to get into this, because you just did it. And then You said, you know what, I did it one way, I'm going to try the other way. You're experimenting because you're confident in me and you're confident in my team, which I appreciate so much. That trust I don't take for granted at all. And Dominic, if you had to talk to people watching this video right now who were thinking about getting started, what advice would you give them?
I would say, I've always lived by there's that saying out there, scared money don't make no money. And so, I always have that in the back of my head. And so anytime I look at something to do something, I'm like, hey, everyone's like, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if the best possible outcome comes out of it? That's how I try to look at things like that. It wasn't like not everything here was sunshine and rainbows for me. Before I tried other coaches. I paid for other coaches and stuff like that, but it was not the same with you, Rhett. So when I started with you, it was night and day difference. Like the value that you bring to the table, it's something that you're never gonna forget. And so to anyone who's out there, if you're thinking about doing it, just think of what if this scenario is the best that it can, the outcome it can, because there's the chance of it being the worst and chance of being it the best. It's kind of the same. You just got to get your thoughts out of your mind on, you can't think of it as, oh, what if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? And, I thought of it as like, what if it does go wrong? You just learn something. You learn something to grow yourself and to be a better version of yourself. And, it just gives you more experience, to do, all right, you did this wrong. This way didn't work out. Try a different way. And that's how I just, any advice to anyone out there, just, go for it. The best thing can possibly happen to you too.
And that's so heavy, Dominic. It really is, because like you said, you tried other coaches. They weren't what you expected, right? And you wanted something more. And I give you so much credit, because it's really hard to do that. A lot of times when people get burned by other people, that's they don't do this again. They don't try it again. They don't have the resilience to say, I'm going to keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad that you did. And like I said, I don't take that for granted. I hate to hear that. And you stuck with it. You crushed it. You're growing. I'm so excited for you. I can't wait till you're 30 and you have 15, 20, and you crush those goals that you have. So guys, please leave Dominic some questions below in the comment section. I'm sure he'll answer it. Whatever you guys want to ask him, he'll be in there. If you guys want to be like Dominic and you guys want to get started, my email's in the description. Send me an email. Dominic, so happy to have you on. Really appreciate you, brother, and really happy for you.
Appreciate you, Rhett.
All right, guys. We'll see you soon. We'll see you next time.